Can you think of the consequences that could happen from you throwing a ball at someone's face?
I wanted to talk to you about my experiences from being a 21-year-old parent to now being a 38-year-old parent, and things I've learned in the meantime of how to handle what things are important to shout about. Now, I'm a lot calmer now than I was when I was 21. And I think my kids will tell you that maybe I shouted a lot. Put this down, don't do that. So someone said to me one day, pick your battles. For example, yesterday, she was playing with the hairbrush. It had no hairs in it. It was clean. It was her little hairbrush. And she was playing with it upstairs. And it stays upstairs. And I don't bring it down. And I went to take the brush off her and leave it in the bedroom for us to go downstairs. And she screamed like complete meltdown. She wants the brush. And I gave it back to her because I thought to myself, why did I take it away from her? If she's happy with it, there is no reason why it can't come downstairs and I can put it back upstairs later. So I wanted to pick my battle correctly. Was there a need for me to take it off her then? Eventually she's going to get bored of it and she's going to put it down. And then I can take it upstairs later. It's another job for me to do. I understand that, but it is something that saves a tantrum that we really didn't need to have. And it's the same when it comes not just to having a baby, but being in a relationship. Is there some things that I need to moan at Daryl? For example, I say that we have two-pan problems. Yeah. And the reason where two-pan has come from is because he's very clean, he's very tidy, he cooks in the kitchen, he cleans up afterwards. Never had that in a relationship before, so I was like, amazed. This is a huge thing for me in a relationship. And my two-pan problem is that every morning he cooks with two pans. And they're the only things that he doesn't wash. He leaves them on the side. So he'll cook everything, clean everything else, put everything away, but he'll leave two pans. And I think it's because he eats 7-8 meals a day. So he's always cooking. So he's always using the pans. So he doesn't wash them because he knows he's going to use it again, probably to cook the next meal or whatever. So that's his routine. I come in and I wash the pans. So for me, it's annoying, but it's not an argument that I need to have. I pick my battle. Do I need to moan at him every single day for these two pans? I know that a lot of people have similar issues in the fact that, I don't know, maybe they put the washer beside the washing basket. That's a very common one that people are nodding now. Yes. But we all have these issues with the kids, with our partners, and we just have to pick our battles. Do you really need to have an argument or a discussion? Does it really need to be something to bring down the day and bring a negativity on the day? It doesn't. Let things happen, let things slide. And quite often, I think what helps me in a relationship and with a baby and with teenagers is to think first. And I suppose at 21 years old, I didn't think before I spoke because I was 21. And now it sounds a very simple thing to do is that something's annoyed me that he's done. And I'll think for a while first. I'm not going to speak to him about it now. Maybe I'm going to talk about it later when the kids are in bed. But by the time I get to that point of that time of night, I'm thinking, actually, it wasn't that big of a deal. So maybe I've not mentioned it and I've let it go. If it's still in my mind and it's still small, when I say it out loud, actually the power of saying it out loud diffuses the issue. Now, if I say that in the moment, it's going to come out loud in a different tone. But when I say it out loud later, I say, listen, earlier on when you did this,
go down to a conversation, not to an agreement.
Yes, we had a conversation.
You talk about it. You don't discuss about it. Blah, blah. Then later on, before you did this, and I feel uncomfortable.
And this is the same when it comes to the kids, because when a child is doing something they shouldn't be doing, they're in a moment. And when you try to tell them, don't do that, all they hear is just you shouting again. They're not listening to the words. They're in that moment. But quite often with teenagers or even toddlers, when they get a bit later, when they've calmed down and we sit and we have a conversation, they can't hear you when they're tantruming or when they're in a moment. But if you say to them later, listen, when you do this, can you think of the consequences that could happen from you throwing a ball at someone's face? How would you like if it was done to you? Have these conversations later. If you're out, have the conversation in the car on the way home. or later on when you're having a cuddle, find a moment where they're actually listening. Otherwise, you're wasting your breath. Nobody wants to hear a nagging mum. Don't do this.
Actually,
It does the opposite. It stops people from listening to you. So pick your moments, pick your timing, and really evaluate and spend time to think, is this really important? Is this a deal breaker? Is this something that I really need to get off my chest? And give yourself time to underestimate that in your head.
because it's bothering your peace. And that's the most important thing.
Peace. It sounds like he's pissed.
No, peace.
No, we don't need to bother the peace. So hopefully you take from this a chance to take a breath in the day, use techniques that you've learned in your life to, I'm going to breathe in through my nose, out through my mouth, and I'm just going to take a couple of breaths, and I'm going to discuss it later. And I'm going to decide at that point later if it was really important to me or if it was something in the moment. Maybe I had other stresses that I was more stressed about, and I wanted to kick off at that small issue that wasn't really an issue. It was just because I was stressed at the time. So give yourself time and you'll figure if it's important. And I hope that helps your day.